You ever notice how love can turn from peace to chaos overnight? One moment, you're laughing together over breakfast, and the next, you're arguing over who forgot to buy milk. Relationships are strange like that. They can bring out your best and your worst. But the Stoics understood something we often forget. The problem isn't love, it's our attachments, our expectations, and our ego. Before we dive deep into the Stoic secrets that even modern psychologists now praise, remember, this channel is about mastering your mind and emotions. If that's your mission too, like this video and subscribe to help this Stoic community grow. Now let's talk about what the ancient Stoics can teach us about saving your relationship before it falls apart. Number 1, don't try to control what you can't. Control yourself instead. Epictetus once said, "Some things are in our control, and some are not." This single truth could save half of all relationships today. You can't control what your partner says, feels, or does. You can only control your response. Most relationships break down because one or both partners try to fix or change the other. But love doesn't grow under pressure. It grows under acceptance. Modern psychology agrees. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which is built on Stoic philosophy, teaches that distress often comes from trying to change what's outside your control. When you stop reacting to every emotional spark your partner sets off, you stop adding fuel to the fire. You become calm, stable, and strangely, more attractive. Stoics were never cold. They were emotionally disciplined. There's a difference. Emotional control doesn't mean silence. It means responding wisely instead of reacting blindly. Instead of saying, "You always do this," try, "I feel hurt when this happens." It shifts the energy from blame to honesty. If you really want peace in your relationship, stop controlling your partner and start mastering your reactions. The more you control yourself, the less chaos controls you. And yes, sometimes the best way to win an argument is to not play. Seriously, peace of mind is undefeated. Number 2, love without attachment, care without possession. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." That includes emotional freedom. Stoicism teaches that we can love deeply without becoming enslaved by love. When you attach your happiness to someone's behavior, you hand them control over your peace. You stop being a partner and start being a prisoner. Modern psychologists call this secure attachment. It's loving someone fully, without depending on them for your emotional stability. You don't chase, beg, or panic when there's silence. You understand that love is a choice, not a chain. You can be loyal without being obsessed. Here's the truth. Attachment isn't the same as love. Attachment says, "I need you to be happy." Love says, "I want you to be happy, even when you're not with me." That's freedom, and it's the only kind of love that lasts. When you stop overthinking every text, every tone, every silence, you begin to love more purely. You become less reactive, more grounded, and easier to be around. And ironically, that's exactly when people start wanting to be closer to you. Remember, if your love feels like constant anxiety, it's not love, it's attachment wearing perfume. Number 3, practice the pause. Silence is the strongest response. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Imagine if couples followed that one rule before speaking. Half of all arguments would vanish instantly. The Stoic art of pausing, taking a moment before reacting, is now a central idea in modern psychology. It's called emotional regulation. When you pause before responding to anger, you give reason a chance to step in before ego takes over. You stop saying words that bruise deeper than fists. Think about it. How many times have you said something in anger that you later regretted? The Stoics trained themselves to pause before emotion controlled them. Marcus Aurelius didn't have text messages, but if he did, he probably would have typed his reply, stared at it for a minute, and deleted it. That man had wisdom and self-control. The pause is your power. It turns emotional chaos into conscious calm. The next time your partner says something that pokes your ego, breathe. Don't fight to win the argument. Fight to win your peace. Relationships don't die from lack of love. They die from lack of self-control. Number 4, expect imperfection. Love people as they are. Epictetus said, "When you kiss your child, whisper to yourself, they are mortal." That wasn't cold. It was a reminder to love without illusion. To appreciate things and people as they are, not as we wish they'd be. Modern psychology calls this radical acceptance, understanding that reality won't always meet your expectations. Your partner will disappoint you. They'll make mistakes, forget dates, and sometimes act out of fear, not love. Expecting perfection only guarantees frustration. The Stoics trained themselves to see flaws without losing compassion. When your partner is irritable, see the human behind the emotion. When they fall short, remember, so do you. Every relationship becomes easier when both sides drop the fantasy of the perfect person. Humor helps too. When your partner leaves their socks on the floor again, don't explode. Just whisper to yourself, "Ah yes, the universe is testing me again." Marcus would approve. Acceptance isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because when you stop demanding perfection, you finally see people clearly enough to love them truly. Number 5, focus on your character, not just the relationship. The Stoics believe that virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline should guide every part of life, including love. A good relationship isn't built by finding the right person. It's built by becoming the right person. Modern psychologists echo this truth. Studies show that emotional maturity, the ability to handle conflict calmly, express yourself honestly, and take responsibility, predicts relationship success more than physical attraction or shared hobbies ever could. Instead of asking, "Why is my partner like this?" ask, "How can I handle this better?" That one question transforms frustration into growth. It shifts your focus from judgment to self-mastery. Love tests your virtues more than any philosophy exam ever could. It challenges your patience, humility, and resilience. But every time you choose calm over chaos, you strengthen your soul. And ironically, that inner strength is what makes love last. So if you want to save your relationship, don't chase perfection, don't fight for control, and don't try to fix everything. Focus on being calm, kind, and wise. That's the real Stoic love, and it never goes out of style. Number 6, don't react, observe. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When your partner says or does something that triggers you, your mind instantly fills in the blanks. They don't care, they're losing interest, they're disrespecting me. But what if it's just a misunderstanding? Most emotional pain in relationships isn't caused by what happens, but by the story we tell ourselves about it. Stoics train themselves to step back and observe their emotions rather than react to them. This is exactly what modern psychology calls mindfulness, noticing your feelings without being controlled by them. Instead of thinking, "I'm angry," you think, "Anger is arising in me." That small distance between you and the emotion is what saves you from saying something you'll regret. Next time your partner acts cold or distant, pause and observe. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Then check the facts. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're stressed. Maybe it's not even about you. By observing first, you replace reaction with understanding, and understanding builds connection. The Stoics believe awareness is strength. The moment you can see your thoughts clearly, they stop owning you. You stop chasing explanations, start listening, and the storm inside you begins to settle. Remember, reacting feels powerful in the moment, but observing is what gives you lasting peace. The strongest people in love are not the loudest, they're the calmest. Number 7, turn conflict into connection. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The same applies to relationships. What stands between you and your partner can actually bring you closer if you handle it with wisdom. Every couple fights, but the Stoic twist is this. Every conflict is a test of your emotional maturity. Instead of seeing arguments as proof of failure, see them as opportunities to understand each other better. Modern psychologists call this conflict intimacy. When handled properly, disagreements can deepen trust rather than destroy it. The key is how you approach the tension. If you go to win, you both lose. If you go in to understand, you both grow. The Stoics would tell you to keep your focus on reason and virtue, not victory. Ask questions instead of making accusations. Listen to learn, not to defend. Here's a simple Stoic trick. When you're angry, lower your voice. It instantly disarms the tension. It's hard to fight someone who stays calm. You become the anchor in the storm, and that calmness can pull both of you back to sanity. So don't fear conflict. Use it. Let it reveal what still needs healing in you. Because when you treat disagreements as teachers, every fight becomes progress disguised as pain. Number 8, the power of gratitude in love. Epictetus reminded us, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Gratitude is not just a virtue, it's emotional medicine. In relationships, we often focus so much on what's missing that we forget what's present. Modern psychologists have found that gratitude literally rewires the brain. It boosts dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals tied to happiness and connection. Couples who express gratitude regularly report stronger bonds, fewer arguments, and deeper intimacy. It's one of the simplest Stoic secrets hiding in plain sight. Instead of focusing on what your partner didn't do, focus on what they did. Thank them for small acts, a message, a gesture, a smile. Gratitude transforms irritation into appreciation. It reminds you that love isn't about perfection, it's about perspective. The Stoics practice daily gratitude by reflecting each night. What went well today? What did I appreciate? Imagine applying that to your relationship. You'll start noticing beauty where you once saw boredom. And let's be honest, it's hard to stay mad at someone while being grateful for them. So yes, the ancient Stoics and modern psychology agree. The secret to long-lasting love isn't intensity, it's appreciation. Number 9, don't let ego run your relationship. Ego, the silent killer of peace. It whispers, "You're right, they should apologize first, don't show weakness." But Marcus Aurelius would laugh at that voice. He wrote, "It's possible to be right and still be kind." Modern psychology says the same. Ego-driven relationships often collapse because partners value being right more than being understood. Every time you defend your pride at the cost of connection, you lose something precious. Stoicism teaches humility, not as weakness but as wisdom. When you let go of ego, you allow space for honesty. You stop keeping emotional score. You start focusing on the truth instead of the drama. The Stoics saw ego as a fog that blinds you from reality. And when you clear it, you see things as they truly are. Try this next time. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," say, "Help me understand your view." It sounds small, but it shifts the energy from confrontation to collaboration. It's not about who wins, it's about what's right for the relationship. And yes, sometimes you have to be the one who apologizes first. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to end a war before it destroys the peace. That's not submission, that's Stoic strength. Number 10, accept that love will always involve pain. The Stoics never sugar-coated reality. They believe that love, like life, is full of loss, change, and uncertainty. Epictetus warned, when you kiss your wife or child, remind yourself you kiss a mortal. Not to be morbid, but to stay aware that nothing lasts forever. Modern psychologists agree that love without acceptance of loss becomes anxious and fearful. When you try to make love permanent, you become clingy. When you accept its fragility, you become grateful. Stoicism trains you to love deeply and let go gracefully. Every relationship involves some kind of pain, miscommunication, distance, change. But suffering comes from resistance, not from love itself. When you stop expecting constant happiness, you start appreciating genuine peace. The Stoic view doesn't make you cold, it makes you calm. You love fully while it lasts, and when it ends, you let it end without hatred. That's emotional freedom, the highest form of love. So instead of fearing heartbreak, understand it's part of the deal. The goal isn't to avoid pain, but to grow wise enough to endure it without losing your peace. In the end, love is not about ownership, it's about appreciation. And that's a truth both the Stoics and psychologists will agree on forever. If you take one thing from all this, let it be this: Stoicism doesn't make you emotionless, it makes your emotions wise. It helps you love with strength, not fear. It reminds you that peace isn't found in your partner, it's found in your perspective. If this resonated with you, leave a like, comment what lesson hit you hardest, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom for modern life. Remember, control yourself, love deeply, stay calm, and let wisdom lead the way.